Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Thursday, November 13th, just a little before 8 o'clock at night, and this is our daily recap for the trades and holdings within the YieldMax weekly paying funds, ULTY, the Ultra Option Income Strategy Fund, LFGY, the Crypto Industry and Tech Portfolio Option Income Fund, and SLTY, the Ultra Short Option Income Strategy Fund. Also going to talk just a little bit about some changes being made in ULTY. They were talked about yesterday on Wolf Financial's 12 o'clock call with them. They come on, YieldMax crew comes on Wolf Financial every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you are a YieldMax investor and you are not on X, you're missing out on getting to ask questions and hear how things are working within the funds, and all kinds of insights into what's going on with your investment. So I was never an X Twitter person my whole life. Just got it when I started this, and it's been very beneficial. All right. Unless you were hiding under a rock today, you know how ugly the market was. I don't even have to slow down. I can just speed scroll through it, and there's one green. Oh, a couple greens there at the bottom. But one green really out of everything we're used to looking at, and it's SLTY because SLTY's shorting the market. So what a horrible day. We've got ULTY down to 422, a drop of 3.65%. LFGY, crypto still getting murdered, 5.9%. They're down in the 20s. Oh, man. And SLTY, well, they were up 2.6%, up to 38.79. They've been holding strong for a few weeks now, paying out big distributions as the market has been dropping. All right, so first we'll start off in ULTY with the trades, but I want to talk about the changes. So everybody's been shouting about fix the NAV erosion, and so the team announced in a talk yesterday, like I said on Spaces, that they, while they are diversified, they might not be diversified in different sectors, because to hit their criteria with these high volatilities and all the other ones that they have with needing to have active options trading and be able to purchase very large millions of shares sometimes, it seemed to keep landing them too concentrated in certain sectors. So they are aware of that, and they are making adjustments with that. And they also decided that they are going to add some mega caps, was the term they used, into the fund to try to help stabilize things a little bit. So it's still going to be the type of fund that it was, but they're trying to add some mega caps. And you will see, usually we don't have a whole lot of changes in underlyings like we do today. We just get straight to the options, but we've got tons of changes on the day, and you probably saw it on the thumbnail as well. So now this first one doesn't fit that criteria. This is a high volatility one. Circle Internet Group, but at this point they're back down to where they IPO'd back in June. So we added shares of Circle. We closed out our position in Hims and Hers. We sold some, but not all of our shares in MP, Robinhood, Rocket Lab, SoundHound, and Coinbase. We added Costco. There's a mega cap for you. Meta Platforms, another one. NVIDIA. So we're adding a bunch of big, powerful names. Sold a little bit of New Scale Power. Added Salesforce, another big name. And then sold some Symbotic, and I believe all of the Nebius group. All right, so lots and lots of changes. That's why the video is coming out a little later. I could have got it out sooner if there weren't so many changes. It took a long time to get through all this. So the thought process is that having some big names in there will help hold things strong a little bit. You're going to have to understand, though, that there's going to be a trade-off, and that's going to be you're not going to get anywhere near 85% yield off of your options plays on these big name players. So that's going to drop the average implied volatility of the fund, And so I'm wondering if that 70% payout that we just received today is kind of indicative of what's coming new. And I think everybody would be fine with getting 70% annual instead of 85 and a NAV that holds up a little stronger. So we will see, but they did not waste any time getting to work on that new strategy. Next, we got all our options, and pretty much the majority of everything in the fund closed out and rolled to next week. That's the case for Affirm, bringing in $440,000, Astera Lab bringing in almost $3 million, Cipher $3.3 million collected, Coinbase almost 1.6 collected. Then we've got our new shares, so we got to start the collar strategy on Costco, Circle Internet Group, and I believe CRM was Salesforce. Each brought in $319,000, $1.3 million, and $705,000. We're back to rolling out till next week on CoreWeave, $3.7 million. We closed out our put spread in Galaxy, so we didn't buy. We didn't start a new one for next week. We're just done with it. That cost $2.6 million. Selling puts is not a good spot to be in this week. Hims and Hers closed out, just the closing all our options since we sold all of our shares. That actually brought in $1 million because the protective puts had more value than the cost to close out. Robinhood rolled to next week, brought in $2.8 million, and all these rolls that are bringing in so much, it's the protective puts that are bringing in a lot of the money. 2 of the $3.7 million came on CoreWeave, for example. Iron bringing in $3.4 million on the roll to next week. Protective puts were $2 million of that. Meta, this is again starting of the option selling on the new shares that we just purchased. $273,000 collected. MP Materials Corp rolling to next week, closing a portion of them, like we said, because we sold some shares, but then rolling the rest to next week, $500,000 credit. MSTR, this was a put spread. Again, we closed this put spread out as well, didn't open a new one, so we're done with that. $1.4 million cost. Nebius Group, we sold all our shares. We're closing out all our options, and you see those protective puts brought in a ton of money. Another thing I was listening to Michael Coe talk about is, well, in this case, it won't be the case because we sold our shares as well. But let's say we have a week where the share price drops of our underlying. Let's say it was Oklo, and so our value of our shares dropped, but our protective puts brought in money. When they sell those, that's a realized gain, and it's going to look like income when you're looking at income versus return of capital. So when you lose money and your protection closeout brings in some money, it's actually going to look like a taxable event. Now it's going to get put up against all the other any other losses as well. So we'll see. We're gonna be anxiously awaiting the end of year paperwork telling us our return of capital numbers. NVIDIA, we just added it to the fund, so we're starting to sell options on it. That brought in $1.5 million. Oklo rolling to next week, $1.2 million credit. Oracle, another put spread. We closed it out. We're done with it. $2.3 million cost to close it. Palantir, the roll to next week, brought in $1.4 million. Rocket Lab, the roll to next week, brought in almost $6.5 million. Look at those protective puts right there. Selling them brought in, what's that, about $5 million plus dollars. New Scale Power, this is just closing of the quantity to go along with the sold shares, but not complete. That actually brought in $300,000. Soundhound rolling to next week, $4.2 million credit, and Symbotic rolling to next week, $2 million credit. So if I don't know how long you guys have been watching, but way back when ULTY was doing well, they were losing all their trades because the share prices were going up. So we were having negatives in the trades. We were having big positives in our share values, and everything was great. We were getting distributions, nice distributions, and our share price was staying steady or climbing. But everybody was complaining they suck at trading. They need to trade better. Well, now we're winning our trades. We won all our trades last week. We're winning trades all this week, and it doesn't feel so great. So careful what you wish for. But all in all, it was a $37 million credit. That's a realized gain on the options trading side of things today. That's going to go along with a $119 million drop in the value of the shares within the fund. All right, before we get into those, we've got this calculation that I have going where I take the weighting of an underlying and multiply it by the change, and then I combine that with all of the each underlying, and it came out to a 7.8% drop. So that means if you just owned all these underlyings within the fund at the same weighting that they do, not obviously not the same quantities, but at the same weighting, your portfolio would have dropped 7.8% today. But having them in ULTY instead, your portfolio dropped 3.6% today. So that's those protective puts helping you out. Obviously, it doesn't feel great. ULTY just keeps dropping. But if you were invested in the other things, you'd be dropping more than twice as fast. So that's always a nice one to remind yourself with on the bad days. So Affirm down 7% today. The only calls left now are 74s, 1% out of the money. Astera Lab down 8%. Everything rolled. Celsius already got rolled to next week, but they were down 2% today. Cypher Mining, the big loser today, down 14%. Everything got rolled. Coinbase down 6.8%. The calls left for tomorrow are 312.50s. They're 10% out of the money. They also have put spread sold here at the bottom. That one's in trouble. 9.5% in the money. They're going to have to pay to close them out. Okay, CoreWeave down 8.3%. Everything rolled. Government obligation funds, $378 million. I think I forgot to mention the cash, $21 million. Galaxy Digital put spread got closed out. We're done with them. Hims and Hers, we sold all our shares and closed all our options. They were down 7.6% today. Let's see if we got a better price than 36.03 for our shares. We did. We got 50 to 60 something cents more per share on 2 million shares. That's not a bad day. Robinhood down 8.6%. Everything rolled. Iron down 12.6%. Everything rolled. Lululemon, everything has already been rolled to next week prior, but you could probably call them the big winner today. They only went down 0.7%. We don't have a big winner here in ULTY. Everything was down. MP Materials Corp down 3.6%. They do still have 62s in play for tomorrow, 7.77% out of the money. MSTR, another put spread with no shares. It got closed out and not resold, so we're done with them. Nebius Group, we sold all our shares, closed out our options. Today was a 6% loss. Let's see if we got more than 88.63 for them. Woo, not even close. 85.45. Could have got another $3 a share. That's ugly. So we actually took a worse hit than that 6%, $3 million drop. Oklo down 8.5%. Everything rolled. Oracle, another put spread that just got closed out and not reopened. Palantir down 6.5%. Let's see. Yep, the stuff that was left for this week got rolled. There's 187.50s for next week that are just about 9% out of the money. Rocket Lab down 9.5%. Everything rolled. New Scale Power down 10.9%. Half got rolled, 20,000. That's why it's not in orange. It wasn't complete. So they do still have 20,418 calls at 29 sold for tomorrow, 25% out of the money. Let's see what they paid for that. SMR. Oh, there it is. So they were 35 cents. So yesterday they closed around 75 cents. Today they got down to 35. Tomorrow, obviously, they're going to be like a penny unless they go up 25%. that'd be a good day. SoFi down 11.8%. Calls expiring tomorrow at 31 or 9% out of the money. So that'll be another winning trade for tomorrow to close out. SoundHound down 7.7%, everything rolled, and Symbotic down 5.6%, everything rolled. So basically everything except for SoFi, New Scale Power, MP Material Corp, 62s, Coinbase 312.50s, and a firm 74s. Everything else got rolled, and so it looks like all will be winning trades, even if everything bounces tomorrow, with the exception of a firm could possibly go into the red and cost money. But it's looking like we have almost all wins for tomorrow lined up as well. All right, and today was payday, so you got your, I believe it was 6.26. Yep, 6.26 cents. Forgot to update that. That was a little bit of a bummer. But 1.8 billion in assets under management. People sold out of the fund yesterday, 7 million shares, so we're down to 428,075,000. NAV at the start of the day 442, closing at 422. Okay, next up is LFGY. As you can see, we're about to have we had a lot of rolls today, not all of them though. So the only ones that I'm going to highlight and talk about is if it was a complete position roll. Sometimes it's just a couple contracts and it's not worth talking about. So Bullish rolled the next week, brought in 122,000. BitDeer did as well for $89,000 credit. Cypher Mining rolled to next week for $174,000 credit. CleanSpark, $98,000 credit on the roll. Coinbase, $165,000 credit. We skip a couple because they're not complete. iShares Ethereum Trust. Did I forget to highlight that? I highlighted on this side. They brought in $118,000 rolling the next week. You can see paying a nickel to close out, collecting 60 cents on the sale of the next option for next week. Galaxy Digital, $156,000 credit rolling the next week, paying 7 to 22 cents, collecting $1.10. GameStop collecting 55,000. Hood collecting 158,000. Hut 8 Corp brought in $159,000 credit on the roll, and that's a total, right? That's all the money out versus all the money in. MSTR had a credit of $87,000. Nvidia brought in $54,000. PayPal actually cost money because PayPal is the only put credit spread within the fund. So they sold puts at 67 and bought them at 64, and obviously PayPal dropped below that, so it cost to close them out. And they did roll to next week and just adjusted down by $1 to 66s. So that cost 73,000. Riot had a credit of 140,000 on the roll. Sharplink Gaming brought in 131,000, and XYZ brought in 97,000. So all in all, there was a $1.8 million credit on the options trading for the day. After no trades on Monday, they've won all their trades Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But again, that is because the underlyings are dropping. So if you're selling calls against an underlying that drops, then you win those calls. They go worthless. Today was one of the roughest days that I remember as far as a single day drop in share value for LFGY. We can unhide some columns real quick and see if we've had a worse than 13 million. We had two $12 million drops last week, so that's probably worse than 113. Yeah, we lost a $14 million in value one day back in October 22nd, so we don't have to go too far now. All right. Lost where we were. Okay, when we switch over, Bullish first up, down 9.8%. Everything got rolled. Bitmine Immersion down 9.8% as well. calls at 40 are still in play for tomorrow, 9.3% out of the money. BitDeer, the big loser, down 20%. So those calls got rolled. Cash, there's 1.5 million. Government obligation funds, another 2.4. Cypher Mining was down 14%. Everything rolled. Clean Spark down 10%. Everything was rolled. Coinbase down 6.8%. Everything was rolled. Core Scientific still has 1750s. Never mind. These are rolled. These are already previously rolled to next week, just like Circle. So they were down 7.7%. Circle was down 4.5%. These options don't expire till next week, so we don't care. iShares Ethereum Trust down 7%. Everything was rolled. Galaxy Digital down 12.8%. Everything rolled. Same with GameStop, Hood, and Hut 8 Corp. Everything rolled after a negative 1.9, a negative 8.6, and a negative 13.6% day. IBIT, these are still in play for tomorrow, and they actually were in the money up until today. So 3.47% drop made these calls 3.44% out of the money. So they most likely will be winning these trades tomorrow at 57.50. Mara was down 11.3%. These calls have already been rolled to next week, 21% out of the money. MBTX, they're looking like geniuses on this put debit spread. So they bought the 255s, hoping that it will go down, and they are right. It dropped to 231 today. So even before the drop, these puts were worth 8.5 million. That will grow by a long shot, probably be in the 9s, maybe even 10 million after today. Mercado Libre already rolled to next week. Previously, it's 3.4% drop. Strategy down 7%. This is odd. Usually they will roll the further out of the money position, but they rolled the closer in the money, or not in, closer to the money, but still way out. 250s. Boy, that was a word salad. 19.8% out of the money. They got rolled. 265s are still in play for tomorrow. They're going to be just fine, 27%. So it's just kind of curious why they paid to close out the closer ones rather than the further ones. Let's see MSTR, what they paid. $0.16. All right, so if these dropped from 38 to 16, I would have imagined that these 1350s would have been down in the single digits, but anyway, they'll be rolling them for a win tomorrow. NU Holdings down 3.7%. Actually brought these 16s out of the money one day to go, 2.7% out. Nvidia down 3.5%. Portions were rolled, but the 192.50s are still in play for tomorrow, 3% out of the money. Opera down almost 2.5%. They are already out till next week at 15, 16, and 18. I say already. I believe Opera only trades monthly, so these have been out to the 21st ever since the middle of last month. 11.9 through 34% out. And everything else got rolled today as well. PayPal going down 2.7%. Riot down 10%. SharpLink down 5%. And Block down 5.2%. So that's how we had a $13.8 million drop in the value of our shares. And again, ULTY and LFGY didn't have a single thing within the fund that went up in money today. $206 million in assets under management before today. So they're dropping back down into the $100 million club. They're out of the $200 million club after today's drop. 6,725,000 outstanding shares. The NAV at the start of the day, $30.7 or $30.71, closing around $28.80. I don't know about you guys. I would love to see some protective puts put into LFGY. Maybe it's too late now. Would have been nice over this past drop. I'm sure you guys have been paying attention if you're invested in them, but just in case you haven't, take a look at the month that we are having, down 23% over the course of a month. Very painful. All right, and I guess now I can start saying last but not least, because SLTY is the only fund that seems to be doing well in this downturn. they still don't get too much attention. So we got Centrus Corp that they closed out of, and BitDeer as well. So they are no longer being shorted. And then they added to their shorted shares of Lemonade, Rigetti, and Nebius Group. So they're doubling down on them. Not quite double, but you know what I'm saying. From there, all the options trading totals up to a cost of $617,000. That makes sense because when you're selling puts to generate income and everything's dropping, those puts are going to get blown through and you're going to have to pay to close them out. But that $600,000 cost in trading is going to go along with a $1.4 million increase in the value of the shares. I believe this is the biggest day ever for SLTY. Let me scroll through. I don't remember something anywhere near this big. Nope. So today was SLTY's best day as far as the value of their fund, of the shares within their fund working in their favor. I don't want to say going up because everything went down. That's what made their values go up because they are shorting them. All right, let's see. Okay, so basically the only changes, nothing new being shorted. It was just the two coming out, Centrus Energy no longer, and what did I say the other one was? BitDeer. The worst part about BitDeer dropping by 20% is that the puts that they had sold on them were already in the money by almost 20%, so they didn't get to capture any of that, really. That one didn't work well for them. And basically all except for two underlyings, all the puts are in the money. And the funniest part is the fund that shorts stocks found the only winner out of the three funds, Unique Cure, up 0.7% today on a day where the whole market dropped. There's $22.5 million in assets under management, 600,000 outstanding shares. I've got a funny feeling that we're going to start seeing some inflows in money in SLTY. So we will soon find out. NAV at the start of the day, 37.66, closing around 38.79. This, I didn't update that either. 58.31. So they're increasing. While everybody else is decreasing, they are increasing. And while we're at it, so that's the end of that one. I'll back up because I realized I didn't mention that part on LFGY. 50.46. Yep, that's a decrease. And we should definitely expect decreases next week. All right, so that's all I have for you. I got a dad joke, and if you watched the first video today, I did say that the two jokes were related, so you got to watch both videos. So second one, similar to the first, but before that, thank you for watching. Appreciate all the likes, shares, comments, and feedback. And so here is your joke before you get out of here. Of all the inventions in modern history, the dry erase board has to be the most remarkable. All right, good luck trading tomorrow. Don't forget to close out your options or roll them if you have anything expiring tomorrow. And I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good night.